Matthew Mole and Fleur du Cap winner Zolani Mahola, the one who sings, will headline the Baxter's newly launched outdoor series of outdoor summer concerts in the garden titled Sunset at Baxter. Audiences are encouraged to bring along their picnic baskets and blankets while enjoying sensational music. Now, to tell us more about this perfect summer experience for the entire family to enjoy, we're joined by the Baxter Theatre's Fahiem, Stellenboom. Good morning, Fahiem. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Lebo. It's been a long time. What a great time for you to choose for me to be on the show, so close to Christmas, of course.
It's very, very early. Good morning. Let's talk about how the pandemic has affected operations at the Baxter. How have you felt the brunt of COVID-19?
It's been a difficult time. I have to be honest, for all artists and certainly for all art people in the arts industry, theatres particularly, with the stop-go of lockdown. And of course, throughout lockdown, we've had to perform almost entirely the past 24 months or 22 months, really. We've had to perform to 50% capacity. So it hasn't been easy because it certainly affects income and that affects work for artists and stuff. But we have carried on and we've survived. And at the Baxter, we've been trying to come up with innovative ideas of things to be able to do. And the Sunset at Baxter was one way of being innovative and trying something new, because we have our garden, which was landscaped at the end of 2019, beginning 20, just before the COVID-19 pandemic struck. And so the Sunset at Baxter was one idea, to be able to just create something new for audiences in a space that is bigger, in a space that is wonderful. Of course, in Cape Town, as you know, in summer, we have delightful weather. Normally. At the moment, I'm not so sure. I don't know if you've been watching the weather reports, but so far so good. Yeah, so we're carrying on. We are not going to be, I think, laid to rest by this virus.
Mm-hmm. And talk to us about the other ideas. We'll get into Sunset at Baxter in a moment, but let's talk about the other ideas on the cards for Baxter going forward as you try and remedy the situation.
An ongoing campaign that we started and were applauded, we're very grateful for, straight after lockdown was announced, was, of course, our Baxter Coffee Angels campaign, where we asked people to give 30 Rand a month, and they put it through as debit order. They can get the link off our Baxter website. And the idea was to just give 30 Rand a month, buy us a cup of coffee every month, so to speak, the equivalent of your daily fix, and we are your daily arts fix. So that was one idea that we decided would be a great idea to introduce, and it has worked very, very well. It certainly helped us during the pandemic last year to sustain us through that, and from the donations and the contributions that we received from audience members and from the public. We also came up with things like, while it was difficult for us to reopen to the public, that we utilized our staff, our technical staff and our maintenance staff, to revamp the restaurant, for example, because we brought in a new tenant. The old tenant was a victim, so to speak, of the lockdown. And so we constantly tried to invent and reinvent, and that's what we did. We did maintenance. We did quite a few productions during the year. Unfortunately, two of our big ones, which come back, thankfully, in 2022, that is The Life and Times of Michael Kay and Kiss of the Spider Woman, that come back this year. We had to postpone them because literally, as we were about to open, then a lockdown was introduced that made it difficult for us to continue. And it's a constant battle, and I think that's probably what we're needing to do. We need to navigate our way through this and just continue to push and be creative and find ways and means of being able to present things to audiences. What I have to say, though, after these, at this stage of the 22 months, the great thing is that there's a big appetite and there's a big interest from audiences who want to be able to enjoy theatre and sit in theatre and be in live theatre because, live streaming was an option for the arts and artists. We didn't really go for that option, but people, that's what they had to resort to, and they became tired of it. So they're quite keen and eager to be back in a space where they are safe, at least, but can engage with other people and audiences and certainly actors on stage.
All right, let's talk about what's on the card. Sunset at Baxter. I mean, that sounds exciting. I mean, I can imagine live music, garden, beautiful weather. Tell us a little bit about that. What's the inspiration behind it?
So the idea was to sort of look at what else we can do, for when we can. And then the idea of the garden came up. We've been trying to, again, the garden is a space and a venue that we've been encouraging people to use and to book as a venue for their functions, for any kind of functions, really. It's a palette. People can do what they would like in the space. And then the Sunset at Baxter idea came up, and we thought it would be quite great to kind of have these, big, well-known South African acoustic artists. We started off with Majosi at the end of November, and that was magnificent. What happened, though, as is typical in Cape Town, Lebo, was that we had to move the concert indoors because the morning of the first concert, it started to, well, it didn't start, it continued raining. And so fortunately, and what is great and where we are lucky is that we are able to, if this does happen, we are able to move it into a suitable venue indoors. And we did so with Majosi. Well, he got a standing ovation for about 5 minutes with all the audience members sitting in, obviously, spaced area. In spaced seating, as per COVID protocols, and they were on their feet for most of the time, dancing and singing along. So I'm hoping that the weather will hold for Matthew next weekend, next Sunday, the 19th, at 6 p.m., and that we'll be able to finally do it in the garden. Matthew Mahola, as you said, is a SAMA award-winning artist. Is getting ready to travel abroad, which is why he couldn't do the interview this morning, because he's doing all sorts of things in the country at the moment, traveling all over the country. And so we are delighted to host Matthew on the 19th of December. And then, of course, at the end of January, the 30th of January, we've got The One Who Sings. And that's how Zolani Mahola prefers to be known as now. She launched this solo career of hers at the Baxter in 2019. She won the Fleur du Cap award for that production and for her performance. And so it's exciting stuff for audiences because these are artists, that you will slowly see a little less of. Matthew going abroad and trying his luck abroad, but you can still hear him at least. But audiences for the Zolani, The One Who Sings concert, at least we'll be able to hear some of her latest album, which has just been released, and of course, which has already been receiving great applause.
All right, and what else is on the lineup? We believe there's artists that will be announced March and April 2022?
Correct. We are busy in negotiations with those artists, and as soon as they are signed up, we will certainly be making announcements about those, but until such time, we prefer not to say anything. We won't get the cat out of the bag. All sorts of question of crossing T's and dotting I's. But excitingly, at least for us, in terms of what's going to happen at the Baxter, is that at the end of February, the Life in Times of Michael K production, which performed in Germany before this current waves also just kind of struck and is going mad in Europe, and we see the numbers are increasing here as well. So we will be doing that. That has got the Handspring Puppet Company in the production with puppets, and it's got Faniswa Isa, Sandra Prinsloo, Andrew Buckland, a great cast. So we're looking very forward to that at the end of February. And of course, Sylvain Strike will be directing Kiss of the Spider Woman with Bulelo Grootboom. And again, it was literally stopped or postponed, I should say, just as an announcement was made earlier this year in June, which was a bit devastating for us. So we look forward to bringing those back here. And the concerts will obviously, the summer sunset concerts will go through for 2 more, February, end of March. But as I mentioned earlier on, that we'll announce once we are 100% certain of the artists.
All right, Fahiem, thank you so much. We hope the weather plays along next week for Matthew's concert. Fahiem Stellenboom is the marketing manager speaking to us about the Baxter's newly launched series of outdoor summer concerts in the garden, Sunset at Baxter. All right, let's take a quick